that you have the president of Mexico who is like threatening to mobilize protests over what's happening in our country, in this response to President Trump's, like, he's got these tariffs on the foreign remittances, and she's very upset about what's going on in this country, that we're actually cracking down on all of her people who are coming here, and all of the lack of doing due diligence that her country did in the people who didn't come from Mexico, who went right on through, and they were like, could I see your papers, please? And they're like, don't worry, I'm just passing through, going to the United States. And they're like, okay, it'll be our little secret. So she's very upset that this gravy train for the cartels and the coyotes has run out. And here is what she had to say over the weekend. Watch.
If necessary, we will mobilize, because we do not want taxes on the remittances sent by our fellow countrymen from the United States to Mexico.
It really is. Like, and that's why I tried to say when I was showing all of this in the last segment, was just like, guys, this is America. We're not supposed to see that in America, but that's what happens. That's what happens when you open the door and you open the gates and you say, shh, now's the time. Which is literally what Joe Biden told them at the beginning of his presidency. So
look, it's also at least 20 years of telling everyone that America's bad. Telling everyone that America's bad and you should come in here and you should demand it because it's yours, yada, yada, yada. And this is where you get. And this is why we have to be very proud of our country. We have to defend its borders, and we have to say, listen, this is America. If you want to fly a flag, this is the weird thing, right? Number one, they're flying flags of the country that they left. Why aren't you back there? Just go.
And by the way, this is something that I have literally asked them. I have literally asked them here in Dallas at the anti-ICE protests in Dallas. They're all waving American flags. And I was just like, they were yelling in my face, Viva la Mexico. And I'm like,
waving Mexican flags, not American flags.
Sorry, yes. Yeah. And I'm like,
all right, go.
Then why are you here? Why don't you just go back? If you're so proud of that country that you want to wave that flag here, why are you staying? Makes no sense.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because I'm from this place called Africa that hasn't had borders in forever, where you can have all radical ideologies flow down into countries and intermix, because they're coming here to loot. They're coming here to siphon off, to leech off of the American taxpayer. They're coming here to drain resources, not willing to become American, to contribute to the society, to hire other Americans, to see job creation go through the roof, to stimulate the economy, to be a co-patriot defending the country, which you had to swear in front of a judge, by the way. Yep. I had to swear in front of a judge, which American-born citizens don't need to swear in front of a judge that they would defend this country, right? They're not here for that. They want that custom, that culture, that flag, but you need to pay for it. You need to underwrite my entitlement. It's an entitlement mentality. Now you got a president of another country saying, you should shut up and underwrite our entitlements. When I was in Mexico, down to the Darien Gap, they literally emptied prisons and loony bins and shipped them into the U.S. They took the homeless by busload. My own eyes. Load them in buses, drove them across the border. Literally, we became the entitlement program. We became the doll. And what they're saying to you boldly, and evil always announces itself, I'm going to wave a Mexican flag in a Texas city and you should pay for it. As a matter of fact, you should give me money to send back to Mexico. You should underwrite my dysfunctional lifestyle of burning your country down. You should underwrite me. If this is not a villain, if this is not Bane or literally, some villain calling for the society to implode itself because he's some radical ideologue, right? This is what it is. It is literally, and now you got a president calling for this, right? I say, let's get tough. Let's get really tough. Let's shrink the tolerance time. Let's get super tough, like Swift justice, immediately. Slap more tariffs on them. Shut down all Mexican products. You know what? We don't need strawberries. We can find a way to build.
We can
grow
figure out without strawberries.
Figure it out without strawberries, okay? And mangoes that they radiate the crap out of them anyway, crossing the border, right? You want to, because that's a call for violence, is what that was.
Well, do you remember?
We're going to mobilize in your country? That's a threat.
It is a
we
threat.
called this. Hang on. We called this when we were talking about the tariffs, and everyone was like, and we were like, no, it's not about that. It's about what is going on behind the scenes, about the fact that America is being raped by everybody. And to Jaco's point, Sarah, I went to South Africa. I've been to South Africa multiple times. One of the things that will shock you, and this has been years since I've been, but when I flew into Johannesburg, and I've flown into Cape Town, which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet, bar none, Cape Town.
True.
You go over cities of shanty towns.
10 million people.
You've never seen anything like it. Do you remember District 9?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fraction.
It's like that because Mandela said, everyone come to Africa. And everybody went to Africa, and you cannot walk anywhere near. You know this dude. They're all armed. Everyone's walking around
illegally.
Armed. They used to have flamethrowers underneath your car. Do you know that? Am I telling
had a car
it?
with it. Mercedes.
What?
Oh yeah.
Mercedes installed.
Oh yeah. You never stopped in South Africa
Every
at a light.
member of my family, every member has been carjacked.
You never stopped at a stoplight in
You don't
South
stop
Africa,
at a red light.
ever.
There's a law. There's a
Ever.
law right now. If you're a woman after 10 p.m. at night, you do rolling stops. You do not stop.
No.
Yes.
100%
Yeah.
fact.
I was there and I watched the
100%
commercial, and they have commercials for
Hit the
put this
button,
on your
bud.
car.
Shut
Blame 'em.
up.
No.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
No, so all I'm saying is there's a model for this.
Oh no,
this
gets
is where
worse.
it goes.
It gets worse. That's why I said that's because it looks a whole lot like Africa. It looks a whole lot like Venezuela. Looks a whole lot like many different places, third world countries, right? This has to absolutely end. Like, you just end this.
Yes.
And Trump should also say, hey, by the way, little miss, I'm propped up by the narcos. Say one more word, and I'm going to send the Delta Force in, and we're going to clean the whole thing out.
We'll mobilize in your country.
We'll sort it out, and it'll be over in 5 minutes.
Think about what we just witnessed.
Right.
Truly, this is not even a movie. You see this in a movie. A president of a neighboring country just called for mobilization against American law enforcement inside America.
Can't be tolerated.
Yeah, because
What in the world?
Because they want our money
Of course.
to be sent back.
Of
overseas.
course.
I mean that's real. That's what she's saying, right? Because apparently, their largest source of foreign income is remittance
Yes.
in Mexico. That's their largest source. By the way, over 95% of remittances to Mexico originate from the United States, with California at 33% and Texas at 15%.
Insane.
Totally
When you
insane.
think, how do we stimulate our economy? Let the American taxpayer pay for it. But that's the whole world that does it. And that's the point. That's the point Trump is making. He's like, wait a second. Keeping stability and safety in geopolitics is one thing, but funding your dysfunction? We're not called to fund your dysfunction. No American taxpayer voted for that. Congress didn't institute law here for us to underwrite the dysfunction of another nation. But you said something that never got enough play, ever. That president and her compadres, okay, trafficked human beings through their country, where the people were raped in her country. The women and children we interviewed on the Mexican side of the border, from Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Cuba, Venezuela, Nigeria. Heck, we intercepted 25 Turks from Turkey that were coming through Mexico. Over 60% of the women and children were sexually violated in Mexico before even crossing the border, okay? They were part of the destruction of human lives by saying, we're going to leave our back door open as long as you also walk through the front door because we're partnering with Sleepy Joe, right? Insane. So how do you stop this? Get tough. Like seriously tough.
And if you watch Gavin Newsom, I lived in that state for 20 years. He has been probably one of the worst politicians I have ever seen. And they've got a lot of them. They've got Pencil Neck. They've got Eric Swalwell. I mean, it is...
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy
Forget
Pelosi.
about me.
But
I mean, Joe is still at the top, though.
yeah, no,
Joe then
he has managed to fail upwards
Yeah.
over and over and over again, and I believe they're somehow related. Actually, Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi,
They are.
somehow they're related, but this is his doing. Like, all this is his doing, and he's like, Trump, you can't come in here and do that. I'm like, you allowed them in. You were the one that's
invited
responsible
them
for
in.
this. He's saying, come on in, it's great, blah, blah, blah. It's on him. Same with Karen Bass.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, but again, I said this at the beginning of the show. Everyone needs to remember everything we say about this situation, about what's happening in LA right now. They are doing over literal criminals.
I know.
Murder, rape,
Meanwhile,
sexual assault.
oh,
Like, these are bad freaking people.
felonies left, right, and center.
And they're like, no, don't deport the poor little criminal. Don't deport. Like, this is crazy. And you might say maybe Antifa is like, okay, well, Antifa's crazy. But to have people like the governor of a state, the mayor of a city be like, we won't tolerate you rounding up our criminals and deporting them. We'd rather keep them here. Like, you guys are insane.
Because the criminals are useful subjects to them to actually bring destruction to America. It's what it is.
You're right. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.